Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sue. So I just wanted to check in that everyone was hearing me. If you could just type in the chat box here, just let me know that everyone, I'm coming through loud and clear to everyone. Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Sounds like you've got it going here, Colin. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Excellent. 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 Okay, so let's get started, everyone. So first of all, let me say thanks for joining us on today's webinar. The 3Ds of Self-Publishing, Secrets of Successful Self-Publishers. And I really hope that you're having a great day so far. But if you aren't, don't worry, it's about to get a whole lot better. So you can get your notepads and pens and pencils out. You can start taking some light notes because today we really have a great content-rich webinar for you that will help you to maximize your royalties in less than 24 hours of implementing these strategies that you're going to learn today. So first, let me tell you a bit about me. My name is Colin Scott, and I'm the Business Development Officer over at Speedy Publishing LLC. And we're a hybrid publishing company that acquires, creates, publishes, distributes, and markets both physical and digital content. So I was actually born in the sunny island of Jamaica, the most beautiful country in the Caribbean, and home to Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth. And before you ask, that's not why we named the company Speedy Publishing. So I spent the majority of my adult life in Jamaica, graduated from the University of West Indies, and started working in the financial sector. And I was doing credit administration all the way up until 2006 when I started my first website. And that website is called Get Jamaica. And I started that with just about 20 bucks. And a couple of years later, I sold that website for $23,000. But during that time, I've done a lot of things. I've made money with Google AdSense, made money with affiliate marketing, made money flipping websites, Forex trading, a bit of self-publishing, and of course, Kindle publishing. And over that time, I've made about 900K over the 6-year time period. And in 2008, I took the first plunge into publishing, and I published with a Vanity Press publisher. The first book was called Jamaican Cooking Made Easy, and it still ranks well for the term Jamaican cookbook on Amazon.com. But in reality, nothing compares to self-publishing. And in May of this year, just one of my Kindle accounts was able to bring in just under 6,000 US dollars. And that was just one Kindle account. And for most of us who need to know, you can actually have multiple Kindle accounts. And that's just a bit of FYI. So nothing really compares to self-publishing. So what are we going to be looking on today? We're going to be going over 3 ways to increase your publishing revenue literally overnight. We're going to be looking on design and formatting techniques, which we consider to be very, very easy. We're going to be looking on smart distribution and the ways that you're going to earn more publishing revenue, which we consider also very easy. And discovery and sales conversion strategies, which I personally consider extremely, extremely easy. And then, of course, we're going to be looking on a bonus part of the webinar where we're going to be teaching you 3 really, really cool Amazon sales strategies and tips, that will help you to earn much, much, much more by publishing on Amazon.com. So the first thing I want you to actually take note of is the importance of design and formatting more than design. And I want you to put this at the forefront of your mind as one of the most fundamental, if not the most fundamental strategy that you're going to learn today. So first, let's take a look on how just a few years ago, the publishing process was extremely linear. So first, an author would, of course, create the content, find a literary agent who would then, of course, read the book, determine whether or not it would be good enough to go to a major publishing company. If it was, then negotiations would start with that publishing company, and the book would go through a rigorous editing and design phase, then finally be sent to the printer, then placed in the hands of distributors, then into the hands of retailers, and finally into the hands of the reader. And believe it or not, this process still happens today. But in reality, this is not what smart self-publishing authors do. And the why for this is that publishing has changed over the last 60 months because of smart retailers. These retailers now directly engage the author to provide the content in a saleable form. And the retailers then take that content and place it on their own retail platforms. Case in point, Amazon.com with KDP Publishing, Apple with iTunes Connect, Kobo with Writing Life, and Barnes & Noble with Nook Press, formerly known as Pubbit. And what they've actually done is that they have effectively soaked up all of the creative liquidity that existed because authors could sometimes not even get past the first blockade of a literary agent. They weren't able to even get to the point where a publishing house would look on their book. But even more important than the fact that we know that there has been a major shift in how retailers are behaving is that readers themselves have changed the way how they're consuming content. So in this slide, what you're looking on is the reader stuck in the middle of this entire freeway of content coming at them and information coming at them. So this plethora includes standalone e-readers, such as the Kindle, the Nook, and the Kobo reading device. You've got mobile devices, which are things such as small tablets or computers like the iPad. You have audio-only devices, such as the CD Man for the more older folks like me, and of course the iPod for the younger folks. You've got print media in the form of paperback, both regular and large print, hardcover, magazines, everything that comes out in a printed media. You've got braille devices, such as refreshable braille and printed braille. You have desktop computers, both PC and Mac computers. You've got television. And of course, you have even live content. That comedy show that's just down the road from where you live in the comedy club, that's also content. And all these ways that individuals can consume this content is either meant for information, to educate, or to entertain that particular individual who is also a reader. So all these readers have access to all this different type of content in numerous ways. And it's imperative for every author to get their content published in multiple formats to take advantage of these publishing opportunities. So really, what does that mean to the author? You now have more places to sell your content, more places to build an audience, more places to research for new topics, and more places to connect with readers as well as other authors. So really, authors need to now know what are the formats that they can place their books in that will reach the readers. So if we publish our book in the traditional methods, we're only targeting people that like books and not people that like to consume content. So in the past, we would of course create a regular paperback book. We'd of course decide if we're going to go into an ebook, whether it's an EPUB, etc., etc. But we're only targeting those individuals who can consume or want to be able to consume that particular type of content. But there are hundreds, thousands of other people who want to read romance novels, who want to discover other types of books, whether it's horror, whether it's whatever type of fiction, creative nonfiction, whatever the case is. You have to be able to reach those people. And the smart authors today are the ones who are creating their content, putting it into multiple formats that it can actually reach everyone, not just individuals who are going to purchase traditional books and traditional ebooks. So by creating content in the listed formats that you see here, you will be able to reach all of those people, all of those individuals who are readers, watchers, listeners, the visually impaired, the tech geeks, you name it. They will be there looking for that type of content, and your book will be actually available at the click of a button. So we're talking about getting your book into paperback format, whether it's regular or large print in a POD way. You're talking about getting your book ready as an EPUB, MOBI, or web PDF. And these are actually just file types. So it's very, very easy for you to create that EPUB. You also want to get your book in an enhanced ebook so you can actually add enhancements of audio and video to it. You want to get your book in an audio format where you have an MP3 or which is actually downloadable. You have the actual physical CD that someone can pop into a CD player. You want to get your book into a mobile app, whether it's going to be Android or iOS. You also want to get your book into a hardcover format. While not as popular, but it can, of course, have a market. And you want to get your content into a Braille format. And that's very important. So if you consider a company such as Amazon.com, Amazon.com as a retailer has the capability to sell every single one of these. And when you place your content into those formats, you're literally opening up the door to get to as many individuals who want to consume that type of content and not specifically just want to read a book or read that book in a digital way, as in an ebook format. So you've got Amazon where selling your paperback book, selling whether it's in regular or large print, selling your ebook, selling your enhanced ebook because Amazon does do that as well, selling your audiobook, selling apps. The Amazon App Store has jumped almost 500% year over year. You want to get your content into that format. You want to also do hardcover if it is something that is financially feasible, and I'll make sure I put that out there because hardcover in a POD way can be financially not feasible. But you can also put your content in Braille format, and you can get it on every single one of these retailers. So what you're doing is that you're taking advantage to get your content out there. And these retailers include Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, Ingram, and Booker to a lesser extent. And we're going to talk about exactly why Booker is really so strong in terms of pushing your sales and how important it is for you to actually have make sure your book has an ISBN. So now that you basically want to get your book in every single format, what is actually the problem? What is it that people are encountering that is making it so difficult for them to move forward? Well, primarily, let's start by looking on why people believe that it will cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to get it done. This is probably what you've been led to believe, but it's not true. It's extremely simple to convert your content into these formats. So I'd like you to go ahead and bookmark this particular website. That is speedybookeditor.com, and it's a completely free resource that's run by Speedy Publishing. And it will help you to actually convert your content into two formats of digital and print books for distribution with these specific type of retailers and as well as offset printers, respectively. It's very, very easy to get this done. So to get your books in multiple formats, you're going to need a couple of things. First of all, you're going to need a personal computer, whether it's a PC or a Mac. You're going to need Adobe Creative Cloud. You're going to need an ebook converting software. You're going to need an app converter or creator, and you're going to need your trusty Microsoft Word. So using these tools, you'll be able to take your existing content and place your title in every important format that's out there. So starting with print-on-demand books, you can move quickly from an MS Word to a correctly formatted book for POD publishers such as LSI and CreateSpace. This will cost you $0. In fact, for many of us who don't actually know, there's something called digital certification where when you're sending your content to LSI, you actually don't have to pay $1 in terms of setup fees. So that's something that you also want to be aware of. So once you think about the cost to get your books into print, it should be a no-brainer. And what about ebooks? Using a simple template, you can create an ebook with clickable links in an EPUB format, MOBI format, web-optimized PDF, which are the standard file types that are required for publication as an ebook. For an enhanced ebook, it's really quite simple. You simply just need to add code to make your existing ebook what is known as EPUB 3 valid. Once you've made your book EPUB 3 valid, then you add the code that will put in your audio and or video that will allow it to be rendered on specific devices. And this is a major thing. We need to think about, companies like Sony that control like the PlayStation. And in the future, we can just expect that people will not be so caught up with just reading a PDF book, a simple PDF book. You want to have those enhancements. You want to have the video. You want to have the audio. You want the individual to have the ability to listen, read through part of the book, then get up, put on their iPod, start listening to where they left off, get back to where they're stationary, and then flip open the book and start reading from that point going forward. These are the types of enhancements that we can expect to happen in the future. You don't want your book to become a dinosaur if you don't have that book in that existing format, where in the future people start operating this way, your book can still be a good seller. So your audio conversion is basically a matter of choice, as you must think about your ROI. So you got to know that it can cost you quite a bit to convert your book into audio. So it can mean that if you outsource that book, it can cost you up to $150 or even more, depending on the narrator. But most self-publishers just go over to a site called acx.com, and they can actually find a narrator to do it, where they can actually now share the royalties. And so there is no upfront cost. Converting your book into a mobile app is a lot easier, again, than you might think. So what you need to do is to take your existing EPUB and use that through an app creator to convert your book into an app. You can even add audio, and you can, of course, add a video to that particular app as an enhancement as well, and get that book out on Amazon apps, on Apple iPad apps, on Windows apps, the Nook apps. You can get your content everywhere through a mobile app. And the cost of that kind of app creator, whether it's going to be web-based or it's going to be a standalone software, can cost you basically just about $30. So for hardcover format, outside, of course, of the cover design, to convert your interior into a hardcover format, simple, easy, free. For the Braille format, Braille comes in refreshable and physical print. To put your content in Braille for a physical book, it's going to cost quite a bit. The process does cost, and there are a couple of companies that do that. But refreshable Braille is different. And refreshable Braille means that you put your content in a downloadable format. It's as simple as uploading your MS Word or a text file to a particular website, and you can now download that information quite easily into a format where individuals can now download it themselves. And what will happen is that refreshable Braille will actually pop up with those studs, where someone who is visually impaired can continue to run their hands over it and read that particular book. And that is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a penny to do that. So then you want to get your books into these formats, because it opens up the floodgates, where you're now going to be able to reach more individuals that want to consume that type of content, and not specifically that want to actually just read a book physically in their hands, or want to actually read a digital book. So you're going to be able to have a much wider market of individuals who are interested in that type of genre. So now that you have your book in every format, it's time to let the world know. But there's one salient factor that must not be overlooked. Is the price right? Now, when you're coming up with your price, you don't want to add any other complexities where they're not needed. So you want to learn to price your content and not price the format. And how do we do this? So say I want to make $2.99 for every single sale of my book. Regardless of the format, that's how I'm going to begin pricing my books. So I know that if my book is in 10 different formats, on 100 retail platforms, I want to get 10,000 sales a month. It doesn't matter in what format the content is sold. I know per unit that I should be getting $2.99. And that's exactly how I'm going to price my book, based on that particular strategy. And it makes it a lot easier for the individual to move forward in terms of calculating the return on your investment and, of course, the rate of return and how quickly you're going to get back what you spent in terms of creating the content and publishing it. So once you've established that, it's time to begin the distribution process. But before I go there, do you actually see how much your books being in these types of formats will open up the floodgates in terms of being able to reach to as many people that like your type of content and not just like reading a particular book? So you want to also make sure that you understand that your audience uses all formats and is on all retail channels. So now that you have your book in every format, let's now focus on distribution, which is another crucial aspect of self-publishing. Now, there are two things that you must do before you begin the process of distribution. The first is obviously obtaining an ISBN for every format that you create. And there are a couple of whys behind this. First of all, your ISBN distinguishes you from other similar titles. So if your book is called The Green Mile, there are many books out there that are called The Green Mile. You have to have a distinguishing number on your book so that you're not confused with any other particular title. More importantly, when you have an ISBN number and your book is listed with Booker, then your book goes into something known as books in print, as well as BookWire. Books in print is where a lot of book resellers actually go to find content to resell. And they'll look, and if they're looking for Halloween books or scary books or horror books or vampire books, if your book is listed correctly with Booker, then your book will come up. And that means that you now have individuals who are resellers who now will have the ability to purchase your content and resell it wherever. The ISBN also helps retailers catalog your book. That's how a retailer will list your book. It's a specific number because that number is unique and no other book has it. It's perfect for retailers to catalog your book. It also helps other readers to find your book if they're passing along an ISBN. And more importantly, you can talk about affiliate sellers who are going to learn about your book. And those affiliate sellers will take your content that is being pushed by Boko in what is known as the Booker feed. So let's take an example or look at an example of that. So we're going to head over to the web here. And I'm going to go to a website called half.com, which is an actual eBay company. And what I'm going to basically do is that I'm going to go ahead and grab an ISBN. Now, I've never been on half.com or listed any book on half.com, and I don't need to because the ISBN will do that for me because half.com will take that actual feed. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that ISBN, and I'm going to hit the go button. And what happens is that the book appears. And the reason why the book appears is because this company takes that Booker feed. And so they'll populate their website with that particular book. Now, while it says, sorry, this product is currently out of stock, I can make it be in stock by hitting this button that says, sell my copy. And now it's crucial to understand that everyone else who is out there who is also a reseller will do the very same thing. Now, there are thousands and thousands of companies that carry on this practice by taking that Booker feed and then going on websites like half.com and selling that book. So your book is being marketed and put on different places without you even knowing that it's there just because you have that ISBN. And that's something that is critical to both discovery and sales. And you can take a look on an example of this book, which is called The Life of Pi, where individuals are selling this book as a brand new book. There are different prices on it. but an individual can quickly go ahead and add to this cart. That book is being sold. Now, even if it's being sold as a brand new book, that person is going to come back and then they're going to buy more copies of that book. So once you're marketing your book correctly and pushing discovery, people are going to want to buy that particular content. And that's something that you have to be aware of. So those affiliate sellers are taking that broker feed, making it so important for you to have that particular ISBN number. So the second thing is, most importantly, your metadata. And no, your ISBN is a part of your metadata, but we're talking about something that is as crucial. And in my opinion, your metadata is as important as your book itself. So first, in your metadata, you want to make sure that you have a professionally designed cover. Your cover is the primary way of attracting potential buyers. And nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, says buy me like a great cover. You want to have a sales pitched book description. You want to make sure every word counts. You want to ensure your description is keyword rich, especially if you're putting out nonfiction books. You want to include an excerpt of your fiction book, and you want to talk about the main character or characters, and you want to begin to create interest. Now, most people don't make or take advantage of the author bio. For every single book that's there, you can put a separate author bio. And what you want to do is you want to tell the reader why they should read your book. You want to tell the reader who you are, why they should pick up a copy, and more importantly, you want to be able to create a story around you. You want to generate that interest. You want to also have editorial and reader reviews. You want to get in early reviews delivered and sent in. And you want to get those reader reviews posted in editorial reviews or in the description of your book as well. You want to make sure that you have the right BIC or BISAC codes. This is very, very important, guys, and you need to monitor that because you want to find that category that fits as close to your book's content. You want to ensure that you have the right codes and that you monitor this because, unfortunately, when BISAC codes and BISG decides to do any amendment to the codes, they might drop a category. If your book is in that category, what will happen is that when the retailer switches over, your book might end up going into the general category and literally into oblivion. So if you have a book that is on the paleo diet and they decide to scrap anything that's related to that, and your BISAC code was one of those that were put out, it will mean that on that particular retailer, your book will go back into a sort of general population where when individuals are drilling down to find content, they'll never find you, which is not a good thing. And it will make it much harder for you to sell. So you've got to be able to monitor that aspect of it as well. You want to ensure that you put your imprint name and your publisher name there. And why is that? Because it will either A, lend credibility to your existing book. So if you have a strong imprint or publisher name that you've built over time, that information being there will say to someone, oh, hey, I've bought a book from, let's say, Pets Unchained as an imprint, and it was really good. And now I'm seeing another book from Pets Unchained. This book might be good as well, and I'll go ahead and buy it. So there's the credibility. But the point is that if you don't have that level of, probably outlook there where people actually know about your publisher name or your imprint, it will begin to build that. And that's what you want. You want to be able to create that level of goodwill and notoriety in the books that you're creating and make sure that people know that, your company creates really good books. You need to have a publication date of your title and availability status. Why? This is important for what is known as relevancy, especially for nonfiction books. As a very old book on, say, diabetic recipes might not get as much love as a book that has on the cover new for 2014 and publication date in 2013. That will tell that reader that, hey, this is on the cutting edge. This is really, really new, especially for individuals who are creating tech content. You want to be on the cutting edge. You want to make sure that your publication date is there so the person knows that this is current information that can also influence a sale heavily. So what about the price of your book by currency? You want to make sure that you have this because it's really crucial for sales, especially with global retailers such as Amazon and Apple who have access to foreign markets. You want to make sure that you have that price listed. So you want to create your metadata once you've completed your manuscript. Edit it and tweak it because this will ensure that your publishing efforts are successful. So armed with your ISBN and remaining metadata, you must now choose the distribution method that will allow you to hit all platforms that accept all the formats you've created your book in. So let's talk about the 4 different methods that we know that work very well in the market of distribution. So first, you can use what is known as direct distribution. And this is where the author goes directly to the retail platform, as we had discussed earlier, and they take their content directly to them. Now, the pros to this is that the author has full control, which is typically a good thing, but there are negatives. Handling so many logins can become very confusing, and it can become very difficult for the author to be able to juggle all of this. There are also very limited options, such as the fact that if you're even publishing with Amazon KDP and you've created an enhanced ebook, you will not be able to get that enhanced ebook up because Amazon KDP does not allow regular authors to be publishing enhanced ebooks. There's also the issue that some retailers will not work directly with self-publishing authors. So you won't be able to get to that point and have full distribution. So next, there is what is known as aggregator distribution, where the author goes to an aggregator to publish their books. Now, an aggregator is a central distribution point where you upload your content and your book is published on different retail platforms. Now, the pros here are that you still retain full control and you submit only once, but there are some negatives as well. And the negatives are that some aggregators have limited distribution, and that's a very bad thing. You also have the fact where you have a lower revenue payout, and you have limited discovery help, which is also not a good thing. So next, you've got vanity press distribution. A vanity press is a service that authors pay to have their book published. I know because I went through one. So the pros of this is that you do indeed get help editing and design, and it's help with editing and design, and help with strong distribution. But there are negatives. Vanity press publishing can be very, very expensive. There are also restrictive contracts, and you do receive a much lower revenue from sales, and more importantly, you have limited pricing control. So finally, you have, of course, publisher distribution, where the author goes through to a traditional publisher. And the clear advantages of this is that you get your title into full distribution, of course, possibly not in every format, but you do get it in full distribution in terms of the different retail channels that are out there. And you do get some discovery help and, to boot, a nice cash advance. But there are also negatives. You are tied into a restrictive contract. You do get much lower revenues. There are lengthy payout periods. And if you encounter stagnant sales after the initial push, some publishers might just not be willing to go a second round with you. And your book would probably die on the vine, which is not a very, very nice feeling. So what are we saying here? The best option, of course, because you do get an advance, is the publisher distribution. And it's really the best option for the publisher too. And two, for the author, but getting there is so difficult. There are many blockades, as we mentioned in the first part of our presentation, that you have to go through the literary agent, and then you have to go to the negotiations, and you have to do all that stuff. So it's very difficult and very, very time consuming. But aggregated distribution is way better, and it's the next best option. You get the control you desire, you get the pricing you desire, and the reach that you desire, and some aggregators will help with discovery, which is critical. Of course, direct distribution, there are limited options available and it can become very taxing. And finally, vanity press distribution. Very expensive, and I'm going to say not really recommended based on my personal experience. And unless you get support in marketing, which you can, but you might have to pay a lot for, there are a whole lot of things that you're going to be required to do as well. And so, the best option, in my opinion, is always going to be going through an aggregator. So the key here is to choose a distribution channel that you can personally work with that will get you on as many retail channels as possible, provide you with ISBN numbers for each format of the book you publish, and give you accessibility to every market and format that your book can be published in. You should now see how important distribution will be for all your existing formats. The distribution must allow you to penetrate the market that exists for every single format that you can create. But having your book in every format, having your book available on every retail channel or platform will get you sales. There's no doubt in this. But you must apply discovery and sales conversion strategies to maximize the revenue potential of your books. This is where book discovery and sales conversion strategies come into play. You must push discovery. This is crucial to sales. So let's look on the one lesson that you must learn. Your book is not a box of orange juice that is purchased weekly at the supermarket. Your book is not, and many authors tend to believe that. And what exactly do I mean by that? I mean to say that every week when I visit the supermarket, I buy a box of OJ. But if this week I bought a copy of Dr. Sleep by Stephen King, I will not be going back to the store next week to buy another copy of it. And I will not be going back to the store the following week to buy another copy of Dr. Sleep because I've bought it. And I'll wait until Mr. King comes out with another book to buy that one, or I'll move on to find another book in the similar genre. Now let's look visually on a slide to see exactly why this is important. On the top here, we have book discovery. And when you drive customers in, individuals find your book, they buy your book, and then they read it and then move on. And they're looking for a new book, whether that book is going to be from you or from another author in the similar genre or the same genre. So they're gone. They've moved on. For orange juice discovery, way different. When the consumer discovers that brand of OJ, they will return to buy that brand every week over and over and over until they change the brand. Now, readers themselves do have these loyalty tendencies, and it's up to us to build on that as well. But that is based on audience building, and we're going to be looking on that. But for now, let's typically look on where you're going to be able to find those readers. Where are they going to be situated? So first, let's look on our checklist before we get started. We want to make sure, A, that we have our books in multiple formats. B, that we have the right metadata for our titles. And C, we want to ensure that we have full distribution of our title. We want to make sure that we hit these three things. It is critical before you begin the discovery process and the marketing process. You want to be sure that when an individual Googles your book, that they can find it in multiple places and in multiple formats. And that is critical. So you want to make sure that you follow the lessons before to get your content distributed and in multiple formats. So having met that criteria, we're going to use a three-pronged approach that has served us well. And you can do these simultaneously or consecutively. So this involves social media marketing, email marketing, and direct marketing. And these are just a few things that we know that we use that works well. And there are many, many, many other things that work just as well. So first, let's look on social media with companies like Facebook, Goodreads, LibraryThing. Then, of course, email marketing with BookBub and Pixel of Ink. And then finally, direct marketing using a very, very cool strategy with Google Trends and what is known as USPS door-to-door marketing. So let's start with Facebook. And here's why people say Facebook does not work. It's because you're not using it correctly. No doubt. But the issue here is that you need to use Facebook to build an audience. So the first thing that you want to do is that you want people to understand that yes, you're going to be selling something, but you really want to engage them. You want to engage with that potential reader. So here's how you do this. You create between 6 to 8 marketing images, and each marketing image should be about 600 pixels by 225 pixels. You're going to create an ad, and you're going to assign each image that targets likes and gets readers interested in your book covers. So you're going to put your book cover there as an image. The reason why is that there's more interaction on Facebook based on images over and above everything else. And the key here is that you want to target readers of similar books. And let me explain. Don't target people who like funny dog pictures if you have a book about dogs. Yes, if you post a funny dog picture and you're targeting those people, you'll get a gazillion likes. But if you target people that like Caesar Milan and the Dog Whisperer book and post a great cover image, these people we know are already readers. You get these people to come to your Facebook page, like your book cover, and you can begin engaging them. You want to offer an incentive to comment, like, or share. You want to offer an early read or a free digital copy or something to get them interacting with you and the page. And you always want to make at least one non-book related post each day, something that keeps them engaged and in a conversation. And remember that these people who are here, who have liked your page and have gone through it and seen a couple of posts, they are your newfound friends and they are your fans. So your next task is to head over to Goodreads. And what you want to do is that you're going to use the purpose of Goodreads to sell books and to also build an audience concurrently. First, you have to add your books to Goodreads. Then request that you get an author page to be created. Once this is done, you'll be able to create a book giveaway, and you always want to use at least 30 books. This giveaway will lead to interest being generated about your book on the platform, and you want to keep this running for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Next, you want to create a self-serve ad campaign with Goodreads, and you're going to do that with 3 ads. And you need to do the following first. Create an advert for your book giveaway. Ensure that you include an excerpt of your book. Next, you want to create an ad for your book that is going to go back to your Facebook page. It's 10 cents per click on Goodreads. These are expensive clicks, but when someone clicks your ad on Goodreads, they're either sent to another website where the book is for sale, or they're sent back to a Goodreads page. The key here is that you want to engage that reader because they liked your ad. They liked what you had to say. They liked your book cover. So what's going to happen is that when you send them to your Facebook page and then give them some incentive to begin interacting, you're going to be able to keep those individuals. You're going to be able to reach out to them. So don't always drive traffic back to Goodreads. You're paying to push traffic just around in a literal circle. That's not really smart. So you want to link back to your Facebook page from your Goodreads ad. And you want to kind of incentivize the ad. Give them a call to action. Next, you want to, of course, create an advert that will go to your order or pre-order page. And what you're basically doing here is testing. You want to basically test to see how good that particular sales page looks, whether it's on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble or Kobo or wherever it is. You want to help to use that to drive sales. In your ads, you want to ensure that you use a call to action as well. You want them to like your page, buy your book, comment on it, do something about it, get something going, get some interaction going. The next stop is, of course, Library Thing. And Library Thing is a social media site for readers geared towards building an audience again. So first, what you need to do is, of course, you need to add your books to Library Thing, and then create an early review book giveaway. And you want to be able to give away at least 20 books. What is unique about Library Thing is that you can do this for both ebooks as well as print books. Previously, when we looked on the Goodreads giveaway, you can only do this for a print book, but you can do a giveaway on Library Thing for ebooks as well as print books. So you want to tie that all in together. And you want to ensure that in your giveaway you use a call to action. For an ebook, you want to ask them to review the book. You want to ask them to go on Goodreads and probably add the book to their shelf if they want to get it. You can ask them to do anything like this, including sending them to your Facebook page. And you want to tell them, hey, if you want to get a free copy of the ebook, if you do these things, then you'll get a free print copy. And if you're giving away the print book, you want to tell them to do the same exact thing, but then if they're going to get a free copy of the print book, they can get a free digital copy when it's in the mail on their way to them, so that they can start reading it early. You want to give them some kind of call to action, like commenting on the book on your Facebook page or on Goodreads or on the retail platform. So what you're basically doing here is that you're really reaching out socially to build your audience, which is critical. So let's talk about ebook marketing, or book marketing, sorry. So email marketing is the key to driving sales and getting you noticed by retail platforms. So looking on BookBub, it's the best option right now to pursue readers. And it's the best option to sell your books quickly. First, what BookBub will do is that they'll send an email blast about your book to their existing 1 million plus subscribers who are readers in different genres. And BookBub requires that you actually meet a couple of minimum criteria. First of all, you want to make sure that your book is in between 75,000 and 150,000 words. Now, this is a lot of words, but BookBub will take your book. It just depends on how professionally your book, your cover is, your marketing is, your distribution is. All of these are very, very important to their decision in taking you. And it does cost a bit of money, but I can tell you it's well worth it, and I'll explain in a bit. So then, once you've done that, you want to choose a plan on your existing niche. Now, if you're writing fiction, BookBub works wonders. You want to price your book at about $1.99 as your price promotion or your promotional price. You always want to ensure that you have good reviews on retail sites. Now, I've seen bad reviews for Gone with the Wind, so it's not specific that you'll have good reviews all the time. So I just wanted to make that clear. So you want to ensure that your books are out there on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Google Play. You want to make sure that the distribution is there. You want to make sure that you have a really good, strong book design. And you want to make sure that you have the right metadata and a really great cover. And once the blast goes out, what you're doing is that you're looking for a return of about 1.5. What we mean by that is if you spend $400 to place your book on BookBub in an email marketing blast, you want to be able to see at least $600 in sales. Remember that this is a business. You want to ensure that you have solid ROI coming back to you. And more importantly, one trick that we've noticed is that you want to keep your Goodreads ads running for best results. So finally, let's jump in quickly to offline marketing. And we're going to be using something for offline marketing based on what is known as USPS Direct Marketing and their service known as Every Door Direct Mail. So what you want to basically do is you want to add your books to a website or bookstore. Now, you can create a website or web page for your book, or you can actually purchase the domain name and redirect that domain name to your Facebook page. Very, very simple. So if your book is called Monkey Underwear, you can buy www.monkeyunderwear.com and redirect that to your Facebook page. So when people type that in, they're going to be sent to that Facebook page with all those comments and all those likes and all those people, and you can tell them interact with your Facebook page as well. You want to create a discount code for your book. You want to make about 1,000 flyers, and you want to sign up for USPS Every Mail door to door. you want to select the target area using Google Trends, and you want to send flyers that include the website and the discount codes to that particular person or that particular area. So I'm going to quickly head over to the website, and we're going to go over to Google Trends. And here's what we're looking for. If I have a book that is similar to, let's say, 50 Shades of Grey, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say 50 Shades of Grey. Let's go ahead and type that in quickly. And so we're over here at 50 Shades of Grey. And so I can see what it looks like. Yeah, this looks like pretty good traffic, but I need more. So I'm going to look on first locations. So do I want to talk about people apparently love 50 Shades of Grey in the Philippines, in Trinidad and Tobago, and in my own country of Jamaica. But then right behind it, it's the U.S. So I want to look on the U.S. today. So I've done that. So I can see basically here the type of things that they are looking for, what is basically breakout, and where exactly in the US people are searching for the term 50 Shades of Grey. Now, I don't want to do this since the beginning of time, so I want to choose a particular time range. So I'm going to add a time range, and I'm going to probably say the last 12 months is a good enough time period. So I can see here that over the last 12 months, the different locations across the US that people are interested in 50 Shades of Grey. And wow, in West Virginia, people seem to be very interested in 50 Shades of Grey. So let's take a look there. So wow, now I can drill down and I can see, Pittsburgh, Washington. These are the top places in this particular area. How much more do they know? I can click on this link and I can bring it right down to Pittsburgh. So this is where all of the searches for 50 Shades of Grey are being generated. So clearly, if I wanted to do offline marketing, this is where I would want to be. I wouldn't try to go national because I wouldn't have the budget to do that. So I'm going to target this particular area. So let's just hit the back button to see what if I went to Washington and said that. So I can see here that in Alexandria, Washington, and Arlington, these are the places where people are searching for the words 50 Shades of Grey the most. If I'm going to do any type of offline marketing, this is where I'm going to start targeting. And the good thing about every direct door is that they provide you with the ability to hit these places up with flyers that will give you all of that information. So you want to also target smaller bookstores in the area as well. So I would reach out to these individuals and start the entire process. So let's put it all together. Following the steps we recommend, you can format your books in multiple formats. Give yourself the opportunity to get more sales by being on more sales channels. You want to also choose the best distribution channel for your book. So get your book listed everywhere so that readers can discover your title wherever they look. And finally, you want to push discovery on the right channels, because getting your book discovered by people that like your content will lead to obviously more conversions and ultimately a snowball effect of more sales. So basically, in concluding, using these methods will drive sales and build an entire audience. You're going to need this to be successful in publishing. And this is what successful self-publishers are doing. So I wanted to jump right in, first of all, into our bonus sneak preview for advanced Amazon selling strategies. And I'm going to go pretty quickly because I know we're running out of time. So I want to make sure that everyone basically understands what we've actually gone through. If you're understanding, go ahead, just type yes in the chat box. Let me know that you basically can see what's going on here, you understand what's going on here, and so we can actually move on very, very quickly. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Great, guys. Great. Okay. So now let's head on to 3 quick things that you're going to need that can help you really and truly push your Amazon sales. So The first thing that we want to go ahead and talk about is that in publishing, you can create content that you know personally about or content that you have a passion about, even if you've done research to learn about it. But what if that topic you're passionate about, no one wants to read about? That will actually mean zero sales. So I'm going to tell you 3 quick strategies that will allow you to boost your publishing revenue on Amazon. So first, let's find a topic that people want to read about by looking on the sales rank of that specific niche or topic. To do this, we use a tool known as eBook Niche Explorer. So eBook Niche Explorer was actually created by James J. Jones and the Net Results. And what it does is that it tells you if a topic is hot on Amazon or not, and it uses the sales rank to do this. So let's try this or test this with a particular software, with a particular topic, such as, let's say, beer brewing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up eBook Niche Explorer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to uncheck this box because you can search a whole range of keywords. So I'm going to type in beer brewing. And I'm going to hit the search button. So the first thing that it gives me are a list of different keywords that are based on the Amazon search suggestion tool. So when you type something into Amazon, you see all those words that drop down. What is actually happening here is that eBook Niche Explorer grabs all those words. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that term, beer brewing, and I want to go ahead and search. And what this is doing is that it's looking for the price of the book, the estimated sales based on the sales rank, the monthly income that that book would be pulling in, the number of reviews, the value of those reviews or average of those reviews in terms of stars, and of course you're going to look on the sales rank for that book. What this does is that it tells me if I create a book in beer brewing that it might be bad, good, or ugly, and I could probably begin seeing sales. And what you're seeing here is that we're able to track exactly what's going on for this particular book. And the cool thing about this software is that it tells you based on, the color code. So if this is green, it means awesome, really, really good niche. If it's yellow, not so good, you might want to take another look on it. If it's red, stay away like the plague. So it also gives you a really, really cool analysis of that particular keyword term. And in here you can see it. It tells you beer brewing, the niche value, the average price, the fact that no one author has a dominating market share in this particular niche. You can now go out and start thinking about creating a book that is on beer brewing because it's a very popular topic. People want to buy it. So you want to start off by making sure the topic that you want to write about is something that people want to read about on Amazon because they're searching for the term beer brewing. It's a pretty hot topic. And this tool will help you to do that. Now, this tool is pretty expensive, but I'm going to give you a really good option that will allow you to get your hands on this tool that won't cost you a dime. So once we've looked on eBook Niche Explorer, let's go ahead and talk about something known as under the radar niches. Now, under the radar niches are very, very, very important. And how exactly does this work? I've got to explain to you the methodology behind how Amazon operates. So let's look on a couple of Amazon advertising facts. First fact, Amazon spends approximately $5 million US every single month on advertising on something known as Google AdWords. Now, if you're browsing Google, you might see, when you search for a term, you see some ads on the top, and to the right, you see some ads. That's what's called Google AdWords. And Amazon spends about $5 million every single month on this. And they also target about 5 million keywords. So Amazon makes a return on every item they sell. They have a team of people who analyze this, and you can capitalize on what Amazon is doing. And I'm sure that everyone on this call would like to. So how do authors take advantage? So before, you'd actually have to own a crystal ball, or had a friend that worked at Amazon, or had a really good friend that worked at Google, which was highly unlikely. So now there is actually a crystal ball. And the name of that crystal ball is something known as SEM Rush. So SEMrush is a web-based service that tells you the actual keywords that companies like Amazon is bidding on and exactly how much money they're spending and where their advertisement appears. So let's take a look on SEMrush in greater detail. So I'm logged here into my SEMrush account. And what I'm basically going to do is that I want to spy on Amazon and see the keywords that they're actually bidding for and the potential traffic that they're getting. So I'm going to type in Amazon.com and I'm going to search for that keyword for Amazon, sorry. And first of all, you can see these amazing metrics. Amazon gets search engine traffic of 121 million people a month. That search engine traffic is valued at $104 million. They buy traffic that drives 8 million people, and they spend 5.6 million US dollars every 30 days on this type of traffic. So I want to learn more, not so much about their general search engine traffic, but more about their advertising. So I'm going to click to take a look on their full report. And one of the things that you want to kind of understand here that is so staggering is that you're looking on the number of keywords that Amazon is buying at 4.4 million different keywords. This is tremendous, outrageous, staggering. There's no other company that I know of that is doing anything close to what Amazon is doing here. But how important is this? Because what happens if you had a book in a particular niche that Amazon is driving traffic to? This is critical, crucial information. So let's take a look on a particular term such as juice cleanse. So I'm going to type in the term juice cleanse and see if Amazon is actually buying traffic to this particular term. Why is that important? What if I had a book and the title of that book is juice cleanse? If I have a book and the title of the book is juice cleanse, Amazon is driving traffic back to that particular term from Google, back to that particular term on their website. This would be absolutely awesome. So it's something that you definitely want to take note of. So as you can see here, Amazon uses this ad, juice cleanse at Amazon, save on juice, using this keyword, and their position on their ad is number 5, and the volume of searches coming in is about 22,200. And it says on their ad that they're actually driving traffic to the webpage amazon.com/health. But are they? You want to click here, and that's going to send you back to amazon.com, an actual search page. So Amazon is driving tons and tons of traffic using keywords to search for the word juice cleanse using an all search. Now, an all search basically means that you're searching the entire Amazon website. So you're not just searching one particular department. You're searching Amazon, the entire Amazon. And this was important to me because when you search, if it's something that is not book related, then I wanted to make sure that my book is going to show up. So what do you see happening here? A person has created a book that actually has the keyword in the title. And so all the traffic that Amazon is buying and sending to this particular page here, the book that says juice cleanse is listed right there on the website. So what you're basically doing is that you are piggybacking on Amazon's marketing and ensuring that you are going to get traffic to your book and ultimately sales. And this was a really big eye-opener for me. So I began drilling down for hundreds and hundreds of keywords similar to this kind of keyword. And I did, and I could find keywords that were so out of the ordinary that I could just create a simple book on it, put it out there, and my book was the only book that existed in this topic that Amazon was just driving traffic to and giving me sales. So my team actually mines everything from SEMrush. Now, SEMrush does cost about $79 per month, but again, we're going to give you a really, really good option for that. So I really started pumping out books, pumping and pumping out books. And realistically, it really helped us in terms of driving our royalty checks up. So it was really a no-brainer because books plus normal Amazon search, what we looked on in eBook Niche Explorer, is absolutely awesome. So I already know that people are going to Amazon and searching for a particular term like beer brewing. Sweet. I know I create a book like that. I'm going to get traffic and I'm going to make sales. But what about books plus that type of search plus Amazon paid traffic? It's going to mean 2 times the royalties for me. And what's really cool about this is that you're not paying for that traffic. Amazon is paying for all of that traffic, driving the traffic back to the website, marketing your book for you. So it's literally a no-brainer. I mean, you can create books in these particular categories. So let's look on the very, very last tip that you want to know. And the name of this tip is called Zero Content Books. And while a lot of people say it's for the lazy publisher, it's really not just for the lazy self-publishing author per se. It's really and truly for the individual that wants to supplement their publishing income. So let's look on the strategy or the concept behind zero content books. Zero content books are books that have repetitive limited content that are interactive, and that means that the person who buys it can actually scribble in it, do something with it, use it, write in it, get something going with it. They're interacting with that content. They're interacting with that book. And it's typically paperback only. And usually you can get this in print on demand very, 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 very easily. And more importantly, you're talking about a marketing platform for other books. And there is an extremely high demand for these types of books. You can cross over into institutional sales, and this is absolutely perfect for something known as Amazon FBA. And if most of you guys are not sure what Amazon FBA is, there are many, many courses out there that can teach you that. We, of course, ourselves at Speedy Publishing do have a course that's absolutely free in our system that can teach you a lot about Amazon FBA. So let's basically take a look online about what we're talking about. So I'm going to head back over here to Amazon.com. So I'm here at Amazon, and I'm going to just type in one term, and you're going to be knocked off your socks. Do you think that people would be willing to spend money on something known as a blank cookbook? So what exactly is a blank cookbook? It's actually a book that is blank. There's no content in there. Or the content that's in there is limited and repetitive content. Let's take a look on what we're talking about. I'll go ahead and click a book. This book here, the Blank Cookbook, came out earlier this year. And we can take a look and see, okay, a blank cookbook. This shouldn't really be selling, should it? Here's what's in this book. Page 1 recipe, page 2 recipe, page 3 recipe, page 4, page 20. Repetitive. There is really no information. Nothing. Let's keep on scrolling down. Okay, we've got the front matter. And then the next page, the same. The same. The same. The same. And then you have your back cover. This is 200 plus pages of the same content. Who are the publishers for this content? CreateSpace independent publishing platform. Absolutely blank. 220 pages of the same content over and over and over, uploaded to CreateSpace and placed out there. How long do you think it would take you to create a book like this? All of an hour? It was done in Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word, and it took the person possibly, I'd say, about 2 hours, 3 hours at the most to really create it. And we can see that this is clearly not New York style, a New York style book cover. But we can look on other books that have nothing close to this type of sales rank. And this is the sales rank for books, which is 189,458. This is a very good sales rank for a book that you could create in 2.5 hours and put it up on Amazon the very next day through CreateSpace. The very next day, it's going to be live and it's going to be out there. And this is an absolute awesome strategy. And CreateSpace will allow you to do this because it's not an exactly blank book. There is content in there and it's meant to be interactive, and the book is selling pretty well. Let's look on a similar book like this, such as My Favorite Recipes cookbook. And this is from Gooseberry Patch. And this is a blank cookbook. There is nothing in this cookbook. It's absolutely blank. The same repetitive content. But let's take a look on what that sales rank is. You've got a sales rank of 16,759. Many people would be excited to have a sales rank of 16,000 for a Kindle book. But what about a book that is listed in the book category? How many sales is this simple book with no content that would possibly take you a couple of hours to create? How much money is that generating for you? Quite a lot. That is an awesome thing. So what you can do is that you can create a number of books, and there are a whole lot of examples here. Blank cookbooks, notebooks, journals, diaries, absolutely blank books, but you've got to put something in there that will allow the ISBN to be attached to it. It cannot be completely blank. Sketchbooks, scrapbooks, address books, anything you can think of. At the end of the day, authors need to eat too. And while you're putting out your content, you're going to need that budgetary support. You're going to need that cash and financial support that you can concentrate. If you're writing your book, concentrate. You can take 2-3 hours and build something like this or create something like this and put it out. You can hire a virtual assistant. Pay that virtual assistant, say, $200 a month. Teach them how to do it, and they can put one book out every single day. What would happen if for 30 days you had 30 books that had that type of sales rank? You would be able to pull in at least almost $100 a day in revenue. That's what you're looking for. That's the type of budgetary support that you're looking for. So let's put all of those together. If you're using eBook Niche Explorer, you can find the really good topics that are going to give you, that are going to allow you to double your royalties. Why? Because you're going to know beforehand which topics people are coming to Amazon to search for. And that's mainly for digital books. Next, if you have a book that's both digital and physical, you can position your book in a category that Amazon is driving paid traffic to. They're paying millions of dollars to get people to head to that page that your book is going to be on. And finally, for paperback and POD only, you can create simple zero content books that won't take any time whatsoever in terms of creating, that will allow you to earn quite a bit of revenue. And that's key and critical at the end of the day. And it's really a no-brainer. But guys, there is a lot more to self-publishing and a lot more of these strategies. But I want to first of all find out if you agree that these strategies are very easy to implement and don't require a lot of work, or basically set it and forget it, and more importantly, will increase your revenue. If you agree with that, just go ahead and type yes in the chat box, because there is absolutely more. Awesome. Awesome. Great. Everyone, excellent. Okay, so we wanted to introduce you to our self-publishing platform over at Speedy Publishing and tell you a bit more about us. So what we do over at Speedy Publishing is that we deal with distribution and discovery for your titles. So I'm going to head over to our website and kind of take a look on our infograph to give you an idea of what it is that we do. So first of all, you can become one of our members, and there are a couple of things that you have immediately available to you. First of all, we give you a whole range of titles that you can actually push through us. So you can push up to 100 different titles in multiple formats. You're paid 85% of your net sales payment. We don't have any exclusive contracts. You can distribute your book in an ebook format, and we have full ebook distribution. We assign an ISBN to every single format of content that you create. We push your content through Ingram, which then leads to 38,000 retailers worldwide and different distribution channels. This is critical and important, as we mentioned before in our slides. So at the end of the day, you want to see your content up on Overdrive. You want to see your content on every single retail channel you can think of. This is the way to go. We have speedy training, which includes hundreds of hours, about 130 plus hours of training similar to what we just taught you with those 3 Amazon selling strategies. There are many, 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 many more. You can upload your content to us with unlimited color image insertions. You get Barnes & Noble See Inside, Amazon Look Inside, social media setup where we actually place your book on Facebook through our imprint. So we add your book cover for you. You don't have to do that. And we're driving traffic exactly the way how we spoke to you about in social media back to those particular pages where you have your book listed, and you'll be able to interact with those individuals who want to do this. We give you Google Book Search setup. We also issue a press release, which is web optimized, and we issue that press release for you once your book goes live through us. We offer library distribution channels such as Overdrive. Very, very, very important. We also allow you to do paperback book distribution. This is at zero cost. If you're publishing through LSI, it would cost you about $75 for the setup, and it's going to cost you to place your book in the Ingram catalog. This is absolutely free to you once you're coming through Speedy Publishing. You have audiobook distribution, capabilities to places like Overdrive and places like audible.com. Enhanced distribution, so you can actually upload your enhanced ebook to Speedy Publishing. Print on demand discount for authors through our bookstore. Where possible, you will get a Library of Congress control number. Now, as an author, you would already know that there are some specifications that you do have to meet before you actually get that Library of Congress control number. You get our bestseller program eligibility, where you're going to be able to actually get your book into our bestseller program where we're going to be pushing your content. You also get the opportunity to make your orders pre-sell, so you can put your books out there for pre-orders. We offer one-on-one author support at the end of the day for everyone who is both platinum and a gold author. And of course, we're going to be offering in a couple of weeks Android and iOS app distribution to the Apple Store, to the Amazon Android Store, and to Google Play. So you can get your content into those stores through us as well without having to pay $99 for Apple, without having to pay $99 for Google Play. You're going to save all that money if you put your Android apps and your iOS apps through us. So what we wanted to basically say is that we have a really, really great special that's going on for everyone who is on the call today. And this is for what we call a Writer's Digest special. So what you can basically do here is that you can head over to speedypublishing.co, and you can actually go ahead and click on this link, and we're putting it into the entire audience. So you can go ahead and select that link, and once you click on it, you'll be taken to that particular page that gives you a really, really great option. And included in all of this is that apart from our distribution and discovery, and you can find out so much more about distribution, you get access to the Speedy Publishing training, which is over 120 plus hours of training videos with cutting edge techniques on book creation, similar to what we taught you in zero content books. We're talking about really, really great marketing strategies that will help you to increase your royalties, plug and play templates for all publishing platforms. If you choose to go to Barnes & Noble, Nook, Apple, whatever the case is, you get those plug and play templates. We also have our online bookstore for sale. So if you put your titles with us, we have a really great online store. You get unlimited press releases for your book marketing. So if you've got a book and you haven't put out a press release for it and you're a member of Speedy Publishing, that service is absolutely free to you. And we work with a company known as PR Buzz, and PR Buzz basically charges about $400 per year, and we're giving you that option absolutely free. You get new niche reports, and these niche reports are reports similar to what we're talking about with respect to downloadable books, ebooks. If you're going to find keywords like beer brewing, Minecraft, it's just mind-numbing how many keywords that you can actually find. We also produce and deliver a new video every single week. That's so important because you want to keep on the cutting edge of publishing. You want to make sure that you keep your publishing, business on point. You want to look on things such as Apple, and Apple actually now has the iBooks app on every single Mac. Apple just added another 17 million potential customers to the Apple iBook store, where in the past Apple only had the iBooks app on their mobile devices. You can read all of those books now on Apple on your Mac. That's 17 million people. That's like almost 5% of the entire US population. Do I think that's very important? Hell yeah, I think that's very important. If you're not putting your books in the Apple iBook store, you need to start doing that now, as Apple now has gotten into the game and they're starting to do things that are going to help to push books that are in that Apple iBook store. And we went over that lesson just last week in terms of what you need to do to make sure that your book is on the Apple iBook store. So just to make sure that everyone kind of understands, for the first 25 guys that come in or purchase through that link that we just sent you, we're going to have a 90-minute group call where we're going to be putting your book on the hot seat, and we're going to be looking on your book and examining what exactly is going on with your book if you're not seeing the type of sales that you should be seeing. And we're going to sit with you and we're going to analyze that specific book, and everyone else, the first 25 people who sign up, we're going to give you that opportunity, and we're going to formulate a strategy that is going to be geared to help you get more sales. So if you do have a book that you think is lagging and you do need some help in terms of trying to push the sales, we're going to be able to help you with that. And we're going to have you, once you get into the first 25, we can't do it for everyone. It's really, really bad, but we can do it for the first 25 guys who sign up with Speedy Publishing today through the Writer's Digest special link that we just delivered. And really as a thank you for being on the call. So what you're going to basically do is that you're going to just go ahead, once you sign up, you can go ahead, drop an email. We'll see that you signed up and you're one of the first individuals, and we'll send you out an email just to give you that particular GoToWebinar sign-up link. And then that will be, of course, later this week or early next week. And once we get in, then all 25 of you will be able to get the opportunity to show us your books. We'll be able to critique it, and we'll be able to give you an exact option of what to do that is going to help you to really and truly boost your sales. So we have put that link in there for everyone to take a click on, or to of course head over to. And we want to head quickly into a brief Q&A session. I know that we're supposed to be on for 90 minutes, so we've got about 9 minutes now to run a Q&A session. So Sue, it's over to you.
All right. Well, there's a lot of questions in there, so Elizabeth, I don't know where you want to
Awesome.
start. I have.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I've been trying
Awesome.
to answer your questions as we go. I've gotten to a lot of you, but lots of questions here, and some of them are repeats, which I want to kind of turn over to Colin.
Okay, sure.
I think something that is a lot of concern for people is they weren't quite understanding what BISAC codes were or the BIC code. So could you just touch on that a little bit? Colin, would you like me to? Hello? Oh, you know what?
Colin
Actually,
dropped off.
I can, we have some bad weather, so I can actually answer that. A lot of you said you hadn't heard of them before and weren't quite sure what they were. They're not general codes. They're actually very, very specific. There is actually a group of people that get together, and a lot of them are from the American Library Association, and they work closely with publishers, booksellers. Some of them actually were writers, and they make very specific codes, not just fiction, but fiction, specifically mystery, specifically detective story. They're codes that go in a tree like that. There's a website, and I'm going to put it up here in just a second. It's bisg.org. Put that in here. And that's for the United States. It actually stands for Book Industry Standard Group. Actually, it's Book Industry Standard and Communication Codes. It's updated every year, and it's actually how libraries and bookstores categorize your books. So here, bisg.org. Everyone should be able to see that. If you go onto that, there's a section that lists the codes every year. You want to make sure your book has an up-to-date code, because if it is purchased by a library or a bookstore, you want to make sure that your mystery novel doesn't end up in cooking because there is some sort of food term in the title. It also is a way for people to know instantly, that are buyers, where your book would fit in not only marketing, but also if they're promoting a specific type of book, where it's going to fit on their shelves. So very important. It is free. You just have to look it up on the site. Bit codes are the same thing, but for the UK. So that covers that. There was a couple more questions on here, and again, I did try so hard to get to all of you. The Braille market, it is a very large market. I'm hoping Colin comes back on because I know he has the exact numbers. So I'm going to hold off on that one. A lot of you asked about, let's see, children's books. Children's books, yes, can be done in all formats. In fact, it's very, very popular, especially with technology moving as quickly as it is, with iPads and iPods and long drives in the car. People are actually handing them over to the kids, and what's better than having them listen to their favorite bedtime story, or with an enhanced EPUB, there's things like the embedded videos. So it's a really, really great tool, and really, really important that your book is available to every format, therefore every reader that would be interested in it. And Sue, I'm actually going to pass this back over to you, and I'm going to get Colin on the line. Sue, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still
Hey,
here.
guys.
Oh,
There he
guys.
is.
Oh, I'm so
Back.
sorry.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are. I answered a couple of the questions
Okay.
about the BISAC and bit codes and the
Okay.
different formats for children's books and why they were important. But I'd like you to talk a little bit about the Braille books, because a lot of people wondered if that really was a viable market, and how important and how big it actually was.
Sure. Okay, so here's the thing. Currently, right now, there are roughly around 6 million people who are visually impaired in the United States at this point in time. Now, if you wanted to, you can create your content in Braille, because once there is a market there for that, you want to make sure that you're in it. You want to be a part of that. So imagine all the people who are just like you, who are saying, well, does it really make sense? Do I want to do it? They're like hundreds and hundreds of publishers and self-publishing authors who are saying the exact same thing. But the point is that it doesn't cost you anything to do it. If you have that content, then it's absolutely free. So let me kind of head back over here. I'm going to try and find, there is a website on down, let's see, I'm going to try and remember, it's Braille, I'm going to try and look for Braille books, and we can head over here. The lesson is actually in Speedy Publishing, but I'm going to try and find it here, which is a website which I can't remember off the top of my head. But places like this where individuals are going to be able to actually buy downloadable books. It's not something that you need to actually physically get, right? It's not something that they need to actually get in their possession. They can actually purchase that particular book and download it right there and then. So you've got audiobooks, you've got books for adults. Let's try a couple of these books here. So let's say a Game of Thrones. I'm not sure if this is also downloadable, right? So you've got these particular books here, but the fact of the matter is, it is absolutely free to do it. There is a website that you upload your content to, and you will get an actual Braille book spit back out in a text format. You will upload and work with places like the Braille Superstore, or you can sell it on your own website. If you work with those companies, then with say one of those associations like the Association for the Blind, and you let them know that you have this book, and that goes out to their parents, or run an advertisement in one of their newsletters that actually go out to individuals who are of course, visually impaired, or they might have people who are with them who can see this particular website. They get your book, they're going to want to buy it. I personally know that I would not turn away from a market of 6 million people. I just wouldn't do that because the options and choices for them are too far and few in between, and it doesn't cost you a dime. I'm going to try and head into or head over to speedypublishing.com, and let's basically take a look, because the lesson is there that is actually going to teach you exactly what to do. And it's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. Currently, right now, our team actually does that. But it's as simple and as easy as just signing up for a particular website that is going to allow you to actually access the downloadable form of that particular service. So it's an absolutely, absolutely easy, easy service. So I'm going to jump in and log in here. So that particular lesson is on our website. So I'm going to just Control F and look for Braille. And here we go. We're at this particular lesson here. So we've got Braille books. Awesome. So here we go. So you can go to the Braille translator. So let me go ahead and open that link. And you can translate your content right here in Braille. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Now, Braille Translator works well. There's another website, I think. Let me go ahead and open that link as well quickly. Well, this is Braille Works. That's for, I think, print versions of Braille. We've got Braille National Braille Press, Braille Works, is it? Cat's Meow. I think this is also a sales page. These guys sell Braille as well. We're going to find that. But you've got that Braille Creator, and we list that particular site there. And it's here we go. I think, and that is our service, which is, of course, known as Go Braille, that is currently under construction. So, guys, it's very, very simple. I would not turn away from any type of service or anything where there are like 6 million people who would want to be in demand of that particular type of product. And the video is there, and it tells you exactly what you need to do in terms of how you can take advantage of getting your books in Braille. So it's a very, very simple process. And for that, and it's absolutely free, I would not pass up that option at all. So I hope that answers the question for everyone there. Guys?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Sorry, my microphone's a little tricky. One of the last things, and again, I did answer a ton of these questions as you were doing the webinar, but one of the other things that really people had a lot of question about was pricing content. That didn't come over too clearly.
Can you repeat that?
Pricing the content, not the format.
Oh, okay,
There's a lot of questions about that.
Okay, so the basic idea here is that if you want to make, let's say, $10 for every single, unit that you are selling of your particular content or your particular book, you've got to look on it from that perspective and not try and say, okay, well, I've got my print book. I'm going to price it at $10. And then I'm going to see what everyone else in the genre is pricing their book at. And then, oh, okay, I'm not going to get that. Typically, you want to set a modest price of, say, I would probably even say between $2 to $5 for every single version of your book or every single format. So if I had my book in POD format, or print on demand format, and I go into somewhere like CreateSpace, and I say, okay, well, CreateSpace asked me for pricing. If I'm selling my ebook for $10, and after Amazon takes their 30% cut, and I'm getting $7 for it, and I put my book on this particular platform as a print-on-demand book, I'm going to ensure that my revenue comes back to $7. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to go into an app, I'm going to make sure that I price my app so that I'm getting $7. So my objective here is to sell as many copies in as many formats everywhere. But I would know if I go over to Amazon app sales, I can see, oh, well, I've got 600 sales here. So that's supposed to be, if I priced it at $7, that's supposed to be 4,200 thereabouts, right? So if I had 100 sales on, Kindle, then that's supposed to be $700. If I had 100 sales on CreateSpace, that's supposed to be $700. The basis of that is that it allows you to keep your price modest. And it allows you to really and truly not to be flustered or get into any type of complexity when James Patterson decides to drop his book to 99 cents. You're going to be chasing him down to say, okay, well, he's priced at 99 cents. What's going to happen here? Well, guess what? He's doing that for a Kindle book. But your book is not just in Kindle. Your book is in Apple. Your book is in Barnes & Noble. Your book is in an app format. Your book is in an enhanced ebook format. Your book is in an audio format. Is he pricing that there as well? Does he even have his book in those particular formats? So Stephen King can do a range of things because everybody wants to consume his content in one particular way. What you've got to do is concentrate on the concept, on the content itself, price that content, and then get that content out to the people that want to consume it. And that's the key. So you price that content and not specifically the format. It makes your life a lot easier. And it's so not as complex. So I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, and I believe we are actually out of time if you wanted to just say anything to wrap it up for everybody.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm seeing so many. These are a lot of questions, guys.
They are, and I answered a ton of them, and I'm actually going to see if we can't get a copy of all of them and then just answer via email.
Well, here's the thing, guys. One of the key things here is that you're going to be able to get actually the downloadable version of the PDF. So you're going to be able to download the PDF that has the full presentation. I'll ask Sue to actually attach that in some way and send it over to her so that when you're getting the email with the replay, you'll also be able to get the PDF as well. I think, yeah, we have clearly gone overboard. It's not good, but I certainly hope that everyone, really, okay, Hillary, once you signed up for the webinar, thanks a lot, Bill. Once you signed up for the webinar, you actually are going to get that email that goes out with the replay along with the web PDF. So that's something that should be perfect for you. Okay, got the visuals perfect. Awesome. I'm curious how many in this group. Okay, lots and lots of people. lots of
yes,
people.
There are.
Well,
I just want to thank you, Colin, for a great presentation. And yes, we will be sending out an email with the recording as well as the PDF once you get that sent over to me. I definitely will get together all of the questions that are asked here and get those sent over to you and Elizabeth later on today so that you can start answering and getting back to some of these people as well. But I really want to thank you for a great presentation, and thank you for all those who joined us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Awesome, everyone. Thanks